We are going to take a look at another version of a list app. And no matter which technique you use, the requirements for this exercise are that you use jQuery. You need to allow items to be added to the list. You need to allow items to be removed. And you have to display how many items are in the list. Okay, so those are the minimal requirements. And here is another example. And you'll notice we don't have anything in the list right now. So I'll just kind of demo this. And we'll click Add. And you'll notice as I'm adding, the number in the list is increasing. The current one is a little larger. And you'll notice there's a little tip that says click to delete, drag to reorder, which is also displayed here at the bottom. And you can actually just left drag items in this list to move them around. And if you want to remove something from the list, you just click on it. Okay, and the number up here changes. So that is how this app works. And it's a lot simpler than the other one. So just even looking at the HTML, you can see for the counter, I used a span. Just like the other one, the counter code is almost identical. And then we have a little form. And it's pretty simple. Okay, and so the code I'm going to show you is also very simple. And so obviously we have to wait until everything loads. And then I have a JavaScript variable called items. And then I've got update count, set items equal to the length of each line. And this is a jQuery selector with .length after. And then we update that ID counter with whatever length it comes up with. Okay, so that's a function that gets called right away. So you start with an initial number. The directions at the bottom are hidden when the when the page first loads. So let me reload here. So that's why you don't see them. Okay, I have them hidden. And the count is initially a 0. When we add to the list, type in the box and click Add. Okay, that is when the form is submitted. Now I'm not using an ID here. My selector is the form element because there is only one form on the page. Okay, so I'm just using the form element, and when it's submitted, I go through this anonymous function. And you'll notice that I am checking to make sure that my input class, the value, so basically the value in here, isn't blank. So as long as something was added here, and there's multiple ways you could do this, okay? So I'm just checking for input class. The reason that I'm doing class here is because I have multiple input elements. So class was an easy way to do it. Now I could also have set this equal to ID, set the ID to input, and done it that way. Class is a little more dangerous, I guess, because you could assign it to multiple elements. ID might have been a little safer, but there is only one occurrence, so that is why it's working. And then we have the directions are set to show. So the minute we have something in here and they've clicked Add, we want those directions at the bottom to show up. And then we are taking whatever was entered in here and we are storing it in new task. And then we're creating a new line, okay, using new task, putting the opening li, closing li with the new task in between, storing that in this variable. And then it's not going through this yet. What it's going to do is it's going to take that new line and it's adding it to our list, and then it's calling update count. After it does that, it is blanking out this entry area. Okay, and that's pretty much what's going on. So let's go ahead and add one so you can see. All right, so I've got a couple different items added now. And each time it actually does a prepend, which is why the new one goes to the top of the list. If you use append, it goes to the bottom. Prepend goes to the top. And there's two little things that we haven't talked about yet. So the first one I'm going to talk about is this sortable. So this is just basically a method that's being called by the UL selector, which allows us to reorganize what's in our list. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many items are there, we can reorganize it. This new li on, basically what that does is it checks, it's storing each one of these, and it's checking to see if we click on it. So if we do click on one of these, it removes it from the list and it updates the count. So whatever one we clicked on is removed, we call update count. So let me remove that one. And this is very, very simple. It's much simpler than the previous example. However, you can choose to do whichever one makes more sense to you. And if you find a different way of doing it, that is okay too. Okay, as long as you're using jQuery and you have met the minimal requirements.